and must really start now. But succession planning in sport, in elite football, especially at such a big club, is not easy when they'd probably be looking in a small pool of managers, and one of those managers had to be available. The word I had coming from the club today was that who would you replace Arsene Wenger with now who could certainly do a better job than he could do? And that's the debate that will swirl around. Arsene Wenger, of course, still holds the power at Arsenal alongside Stan Kroenke. Those are the two in control. And Kroenke's never wavered in his desire for Wenger to remain in charge, but certain board members do feel the time has come for the Frenchman to leave. The problem with that for them is that Kroenke is the main man. And so Wenger's main concern wasn't internal politics. It was the external opposition to him and the conditions that might create for his players next season if there was a really negative and toxic atmosphere. And that was the key determining factor at the end in Wenger's decision, whether if he stayed and signed a new deal, whether the fans would turn against him and potentially the players in the stadium next season.
OK, David, thank you. Let's bring in football correspondent John Murray. Hiya, John.
Hi, Caroline.
That FA Cup win then, did it change anything?
Well, I think he was being quite playful with everyone, Arsene Wenger, on the pitch afterwards. I don't know whether you saw it, but he was waving at the Arsenal supporters with both hands. As it turns out, it was au revoir, see you next season, not goodbye. Yeah. And I spoke to him in the tunnel in the aftermath of the FA Cup victory, Per Mertesacker as well, the captain, and both of them were talking about how they are convinced that this team can challenge for the Premier League title next season. But as David suggested there in his answers, what is this squad? What is the Arsenal squad going to look like at the start of next season? Big questions now over what happens to Alexis Sanchez. Is Ozil going to hang around as well? And if that's the case, are they going to be able to attract players without Champions League football to improve the squad that they already have and make it capable of challenging for the title? It's a really big step to take.
Yeah, and that's something Gary Lineker picked up on 5 Live Daily. He was speaking to Adrian Charles, said that Arsenal were further behind the top teams than Wenger realises.
I think they've got a long way to go at the moment. I think they're quite a long way behind, further behind than I think Arsene Wenger thinks they are, looking at their overall squad. And so, if you ask me now, before anyone's made any signings this summer, and I think there's going to be a lot of action in this summer, if you ask me now whether I think Arsenal will be in the top 4 next season or not, I would say most probably not.
Gary Lineker animated on the subject of Arsene Wenger today, as was and is Robbie Lyle, the man behind ArsenalFanTV. Hiya, Robbie. The reaction...
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. What about you? The reaction to some of your comments today, mixed from Arsenal fans.
Yeah, I'd say it's mixed. I think, all season there's a lot of Arsenal fans who feel that Arsene Wenger should have gone at the end of the season. The performances in the Premier League were just not good enough. We lost 9 games and the performances were really poor. However, he has got some support as well because winning the FA Cup, beating Chelsea, and in the manner of how they've done it, that's earned him a lot of credit with some fans as well. So it has been a mixed reaction.
One of these reactions to your tweets earlier, they've announced it while there's a break on now, hoping the fans would have calmed down by next season. Are they going to calm down, those that wanted him out?
The thing that sort of worries me is that, they will calm down now, but if we start off the season, the first time we get like a back-to-back loss, say, for instance, it'll be interesting to see how the fans react. I mean, I feel that we've got a really big summer ahead. I think as well as this announcement, Arsenal have to show a statement of intent that they plan to try and win the Premier League. That's what fans want to see. They want to see this team challenging for the league. We were way off of it last year. So
who do you want,
really
Robbie? Who do you want him to bring in?
Well, for me personally, I look at players like Pierre Aubameyang, who's at Dortmund, who reportedly wants to leave. The price would probably be about 80 million euros. For me, if Arsenal are serious about trying to win the Premier League, those are the sort of players they should be going after, as well as keeping Ozil and keeping Sanchez. For me, when I'm going to be really interested to hear the announcement tomorrow, because obviously we know he's staying, but what are your plans to get us back to where we need to be? That is what fans really want to, they want to hear, that there's a statement of intent from the board, from the manager, that yes, we've had a really poor season, but this is our plan to get us back to the top. I think that's very important.
All right, Robbie, thanks for your time tonight. Robbie Lyle, who's behind ArsenalFanTV, spoke about Aubameyang. I know that the PSG were in talks, but Thomas Tuchel leaving Dortmund today could change that. That's the fans' view then, 85058, for what you think about Arsene Wenger staying. What about the players? Former Arsenal goalkeeper Bob Wilson says the dressing room will back Wenger.
The majority of players will say, great, because who else are we going to get if we're not going to have Arsene Wenger? Because all the other ones are already here. Simeone might be the next shout or whatever. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, I thought Ronald Koeman might be a really good follow-up to somebody like Arsene. So there will be an element who will be so angry, they will, they're already showing their feelings. And that's not just Arsenal football fans. That will be, I mean, there are a lot of football fans at other clubs who are shouting, Arsene, we want you to stay. But the media, we have to be able to say, look, it's got to a point now where it is ridiculous, the abuse that he is receiving in the written press, or even on television, with some of the pundits who should know a great deal better. So I think there will be an element, obviously, that will be not so much shocked. I don't think they'll be shocked that he might stay, but I think they'll be upset that he might stay. And then there will be as many, if not more, because I know I'm being asked the question 100 times every day from people who will say, do you know what? You won't get a better manager than Arsene Wenger. There isn't a better one than him around at the moment that is available.
Bob Wilson, on the current players then, John Murray, what about players that could come in? Riyad Mahrez announcing today that he's off from Leicester.
Yes, he's a Premier League winner, a Champions League player. Is he going to want to go to a club that is not playing in the Champions League, having had the taste of that this season? I would doubt it severely. I think Riyad Mahrez will have his eyes on another Champions League team, and therein lies the nub of the problem, really, in terms of Arsenal's recruitment.
OK, John, thank you for the moment. Elsewhere in football today, Paul Lambert has been sacked by Wolves. Borussia Dortmund, as I was saying, have sacked their manager Thomas Tuchel, and Roma have parted company with Luciano Spalletti despite finishing second in Serie A. It's expected that Spalletti will take over at Inter. And Bournemouth have signed Asmir Begovic from Chelsea, that for around £15 million, while Liverpool have announced that Chelsea striker Dominic Solanke will join them on July the 1st. More football to come before 7:30. We're going to hear from Gareth Southgate on Wayne Rooney's future, and we'll hear from the Manchester City chairman on what next for Pep Guardiola and Sergio Aguero. After 10, special programme for you too. We're looking at the use of painkillers in sport We've spoken to professional athletes such as World Cup winner Lewis Moody, who relied on them to prolong his playing career, but has suffered long-term health issues as a result. 5 Live Sport is 16 minutes past 7.